friends, I have a question for you. Where do you live? So some of you might have said, oh, I live in my house, or I live in my apartment. Some of you may have said, I live in the United States of America. Some of you may have said that you live in Durham. Some of you may have said that you live in North Carolina. Some of you may have said that you live in the world. All of those things are true. You live in all of those places. But which one is your city? Which one is your country? Which one is your state? So if we start off, this is a picture of me. I live in my house. Here is me in my house. My house is inside of a neighborhood, so like a group of houses. So the name of my neighborhood is called Briarwood, and your neighborhood may have a name, it may not have a name. You live inside of a neighborhood or a part of your town. So like you might live in North Durham, or a different part of Durham, or you might live in a neighborhood that has a name. Your neighborhood is part of your city or town. What city do we live in? We live in Durham, okay? Your city is part of a state. What state do we live in? North Carolina, good job. And then North Carolina is part of our country. What's the name of our country? The United States of America. And then we know that our country is a part of the world. So if we start off really, really big, this is our country. The name of our country is the United States of America. Inside of our country is our state. Our state is smaller than our country. So our country is really big. Our country has 50 states in it. But North Carolina is our state. Inside of our state, we have our city. So our city is smaller than our state. What city do we live in? Durham. Good. Inside your city, we have your neighborhood or the name of your street that you live on or the road that you live on. And then on that street or on that road is you in your house. So today we are going to talk about our state. And our state is North Carolina. And North Carolina has lots of different cities in it, but it also has 3 regions or 3 different parts where the land and the animals and some of the things that you might see look a little different. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm looking at. So let me see here. Let me try to start. There you go. So you can see that this is our state of North Carolina. Now we are in the green part. So if you can see my mouse, actually I can go ahead and mark it for you. We live right here in Durham. So we live in the green part. We live in the part of the state called the Piedmont. But North Carolina has 3 parts. It has this orange part, the mountains. What do you think you can find there? Mountains, good. Then we have the green part, the Piedmont, that's where we live. And then we have the coastal plains, the coast, like the beach. So when some of you go to the beach, you might go out to the coast. Some of you might go to South Carolina, which is the state right below us, to go to Myrtle Beach. But the beaches in North Carolina are also really, really beautiful. And we have the Outer Banks right here that have some really beautiful beaches. So in different areas of North Carolina, you can find different plants and you can find different animals because the land is going to be a little different in each of these 3 parts. So say with me, the 3 parts of North Carolina are the mountains, the Piedmont, that's where we live, and the coastal plains. So we are going to start learning about some of the plants and animals that we can find in the mountains. And so Mr. K and I love to go to the mountains in North Carolina. The Blue Ridge Mountains are a mountain range that goes through North Carolina. There's a city called Asheville that Mr. K and I really like to visit. There's also a city called Boone, but there are lots of really great places in the mountains of North Carolina, and there are also some really awesome plants and animals. So let's learn about them. So we're going to talk about this mountain part first. So the plants that we're going to talk about are the azalea, a dogwood tree, and something called the evening primrose. And these are plants that you can find in the mountains, and some of these plants you can even find in the Piedmont where we live. So this is an azalea. Has anyone ever seen an azalea bush before? If you watch my YouTube videos, you have, because I have an azalea bush at my house. So azaleas don't only grow in the mountains because they grow at our house. They grow in the Piedmont, but there are lots of azaleas in the mountains. They're small trees or bushes, and they usually grow their flowers in the springtime. And their blossoms can be red or pink or white. The ones that I have at my house are pink. But the reason why you can find azaleas in the mountains is because they like to grow in forests where there's some shade. So azaleas like to have a little bit of shade to protect their leaves. And where can you find lots of forest? In the mountains, on a mountain. So azaleas aren't from North Carolina. They didn't start growing here first. They're actually from the country called China, but travelers brought them here so that we could have this pretty bush here too. And azaleas can grow to be up to 8 feet tall. So that's like if you took yourself and then stacked another one of you on top. That's about how tall 8 feet is. So that's all about the azalea bush. So they survive really well in the mountains because there's lots of shade there. So remember, we've talked before about what plants need to be able to survive, but different plants might need different things, like they might need different amounts of sunlight. The dogwood tree is a short tree that blooms in the spring. I'm noticing a pattern here. And dogwood flowers are light pink, sometimes they're white, but dogwood trees also make berries for birds and squirrels and other animals to munch on. They grow in meadows and forests, lots of forests in the mountains, and in the woodlands, so where you can find lots of woods all over North Carolina. So dogwoods don't just grow in the mountains, but they do really well in the mountains because they like to grow in forests and woodlands. And something that's really cool about dogwood trees is that their wood can be used as a natural resource. We've learned about natural resources. What are those? Natural resources are things that we use that come from the earth. You got it. So what are some different ways you think we could use a dogwood tree? Here's some things that we use wood for. Oh, I know that we use wood to make rails sometimes, like for fences. Or we can use wood for tools or for chairs. So all of those things can be made out of dogwood wood. But the bark on the outside of the tree can also be used as a medicine to treat fevers. Or the dogwood bark could be used in hot tea. So people who like to drink hot tea might put some of the dogwood bark inside the tea pack. Pretty cool, right? This is one of my favorite plants. This is the last one that we're going to talk about today, and then we'll pick back up with it next week. But the evening primrose, I always like to say evening primrose in my fancy voice. Can you say it with me? An evening primrose. So these plants like to grow in open woodlands, so they like to grow in fields, but they like to have woods around them. But they like the sun and they like a little shade. They bloom during the spring and the summer, just like lots of other plants. But what's really, really cool about an evening primrose, are you ready? This is what makes it really special. The flowers for an evening primrose only last 1 day. I know, 1 day, that's it. And they're not even open all day. They open in the late afternoon, so around 4 o'clock and into the evening, into the nighttime. But the flowers, they smell like lemons. Even though they're not anywhere near a lemon tree, they're not really lemons, but they smell like lemon. And that smell attracts the moths to them. So moths really like evening primroses. But another thing that's really cool about evening primroses is that they can make up to 150,000 seeds each summer. That is so many seeds. So many. But birds really love to eat these seeds too, so they don't all travel and become new evening primrose flowers, but birds love to eat them. The seeds can also be used for medicine because they can treat sore throat, stomach aches, and bruises. So some people who like to use like natural plants and things to help them feel better, they might use the evening primrose to help them. But I just think it's so cool that the evening primrose, even though it's so beautiful, the flower only lasts for 1 day and then it goes away. So next week when we pick back up talking about plants and animals, we're going to talk about animals that we can find in the mountains of North Carolina. One of those animals is a bear. Can't wait to talk to you about it. Have a great day, friends. See you soon.